Hello and welcome back to FootieTalksPod, the regular student podcast where we talk absolute crap about anything football related. I'm joined by Joshua, Toby and Paddy as usual today. I'm James, I didn't even mention it. And we're just talking absolute rubbish about the dreadful Premier League weekend that we've just had. What are our thoughts on the absolute diabolical football that we had to endure for 3 days?
To cap off that weekend with Arsenal 0, Leicester 1, with some very dodgy refereeing and officiating calls, wasn't a fun weekend. Arguably the biggest game was Man United Chelsea, but that was also absolute drivel.
A pile of dog crap, that. Stunk.
I want to say, was there loads of draws this weekend, or was that last weekend?
I think we had it was either the first 0-0 or just like a bunch more 0-0s of the weekend.
I know Newcastle Wolves drew.
West Ham Man City drew. You drew with Chelsea.
Yeah.
And Wolves Newcastle drew. And then Brighton and West Brom drew.
Yeah.
God, yeah. It was.
To be fair, the weekend did start all right. It was Villa 0, Leeds 3.
Oh, Friday night.
Mad one.
Yeah, that's true.
Good old Paddy.
And it's a good question of, is Patrick Bamford in the top 10 strikers in the Premier League? Is he, well, we're not going to like count down the top 10, but is he finally proving himself to be top tier standard? Because he had his issues when he went to, I think it was Palace when he was there.
Palace,
and who else had him? Fulham did they have him?
Middlesbrough had him.
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't push it as far as saying he's top 10 strikers in the league.
No.
It's a weird one because obviously Villa had been unbeaten. They were looking strong, beat Liverpool, and then it's that age of stereotype of anyone could beat anyone in the Premier League. But I think it's proven most true this year.
I think anyone could beat anyone relates when it's like Middlesbrough beat Liverpool, but if it's Leeds who have looked amazing under Bielsa against Villa, it's a bit like you kind of expected their luck to run out in the end, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So obviously then Man City drew with West Ham. West Ham resurgent under David Moyes. Again, he comes in and saves him, and they go on a good run, and then he gets sacked, or he says something about Gold and Sullivan, and then he goes again. They've been doing really well. We obviously spoke about that Spurs result last week. Another great result. Did something that Arsenal couldn't do and got something out of Man City. What do you think of them? Are they still relegation fodder, or are they like safe now, even though we're 6 games in?
I think when we look at them, they're not going to be batting for the relegation. Obviously, there's quite a few people put them down there at the start of the season, but I think it kind of is too early to tell. But from the performances that we have seen, it's going to be another, I think, bland performance from West Ham.
James has disappeared. I don't know where he's gone. We'll hopefully get him back in at some point. They've not lost since Arsenal beat them 2-1, I think it was. And he's back. Yay.
Sorry, lads. We started talking about West Ham City, and I had to think about the awful game I had to go out to a pub to actually watch. And it was terrible. Carry on. Where were we?
Let's go Wi-Fi.
You'd love to see it.
So we were just saying that West Ham haven't lost since Arsenal narrowly beat them 2-1. Picked up some great results. Thrashed Wolves. Obviously, draws against West Ham. Draws against Spurs and Man City. We were sort of saying they sort of seem safer from relegation than they were at the start of the season.
Yeah,
there are a lot of teams worse than them so far.
100%. I think West Ham actually look fine. They're definitely being dragged through by certain players. Antonio, obviously massive for them. Souček and Rice, both great midfielders. Souček, now the new Fellaini.
Yeah.
Mourinho, signed by Spurs next summer. But I think they actually look all right. I watched the game of the weekend at the sports bar, And it was more, I think, City looking poor than West Ham looking excellent. But at the same time, it's like West Ham still looked fine. They looked all right. I think they struggled on the counter. They play a very, very deep line and stack it up. When you've got a midfield of Souček and Rice, it's not going to be the most progressive football. But on the break, Jared Bowen's fast, but was easily caught up to by Mendy a lot of the time. Antonio obviously was dynamite, and he has been dynamite. And it's kind of, has he been called up to England yet for any of the recent internationals?
No.
You've got to be thinking about it, maybe. I think
the same. I sort of think you look at some of the strikers. I'm not like trying to be disrespectful. Tammy Abraham justified his place.
Tammy Abraham was never really good enough anyway. He scored a couple of goals.
I think he was good for Chelsea last year. I think he was fine.
See, my problem is though, and I don't want to like have an England rant or Southgate rant. Not a massive fan of Southgate anyway, but he sort of came in. People were like, oh, he'll pick players based on form, not reputation.
He said that, and he said that from the very start. He picked players on form, and then he just doesn't really do it. He's
not picked Grealish.
That's because he fell in love with Mason Mount. That's like
his love affair with Mason Mount gets on my nerves. Like,
they went to Turtle Bay a couple of times. They're now like in a fully committed relationship together. He can't drop him, otherwise it's going to be a bit awkward when they go out to dinner together again.
I think if Antonio can keep it up, I think he definitely justifies it. He saved.
Yeah, but does he though? Look at the other England strikers. Look at Calvert-Lewin. Like Danny Ings has had a good season. You got Harry Kane. You got Rashford. You got Sancho. You got Sterling. There's so many players to get in.
I think Bamford. He offers something different. He goals, and he offers. He deserves a place in the team. I think he's.
I mean, all right. I know I brought it up, but I think he obviously is in with a shout of being maybe a backup. But does he get in over Danny Ings? Does he get in over? I don't know who are the other guys. Yeah, Calvert-Lewin. I think
for me, it's similar to a Jamie Vardy situation. They're very different players, but like you look at natural strikers, Harry Kane, Ings, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
they're big guys, and Vardy was pacey and brute strength, and he doesn't care, and he just go into it. And he offered that different option if we were losing or if we needed a goal. Bring on Vardy, and he does that. I think it's
against like Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly like Arsenal. Still can't get over the fact he turned us down. But I think it's a similar thing with Antonio. He offers that different thing. Yeah. He's like different style of play. He's
very, very pacey. He's also very
strong. So it's like he can get past the tight defender, or he can knock someone off the ball and not concede a foul. He can jump.
He's insanely agile for his stature as well.
Yeah, he's really
overhead kick at the weekend.
But I think I'd have him in the next squad. I don't remember who it plays. Is it the Republic of Ireland game and Iceland? Is it in the Nations League?
Big games.
How exciting!
I can't see what the harm is in giving him an England call up. Look, just to see how it goes. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I'm not saying we need to cram the team with 6 strikers, but if he's on form, if he's in better scoring form than Ings or Abraham, then he goes in. If Kane gets injured, which is a possibility, I know anyone potentially could get injured, but Harry Kane struggles with all it takes is a bad ankle.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying, he needs to be considered. He can't just be frozen out because he's 30 or 29 or however old he is. I think it's a serious thing. I think if he's in better scoring form than some of those England players in the squad on the peripheral, then he justifies the call up.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Harry Kane, do we not have the second best striker in Europe right now playing for us? I think. So it's kind of hard to find a backup for that. I mean, Harry Kane and Son have just been insane together. They're one of the best partnerships in Europe. And it's it's trying to find who's the human Son for the England setup and who can play like that with Kane. And it worries me that maybe because we haven't had that for a few years, I can't think of a dynamic duo like that, or if it's just popped up this season. But Harry Kane has been growing into that false nine mould, and that was shown like at the weekend and that sort of thing. He's shown it for a good few weeks, and it's a point where his passing is almost as good as his shooting and his leadership. So when you find a way to work that into the England squad, it's going to work well. The only issue is, to play that, you've got to have people supporting Harry. You've got to have people in the midfield pushing up to give in options, to either have a give and go or to overlap or underlap or anything like that. And for some reason, Gareth Southgate likes playing 4 right backs and 6 defensive midfielders. So I don't know if we're going to get it.
I think the England debate is something we can carry on over the international break next month. Because I think we all have opinions on it, and it's interesting. We'll definitely make something of it when the squad announcement comes out. Getting back to the Premier League, Arsenal-Leicester, I don't know if you saw the photo of our attack, and I saw it on, I'm probably going to get his name horribly wrong, Eduardo Hagen, had a photo, and it was our attack, and we had 4 across the midfield, almost in a triangle with no attacking midfielder, and almost two wide players. There was no central threat at all, which is worrying. I think missing out on Aouar was massive for Arsenal. Not because we missed out. Not because we missed out on Houssem Aouar as Aouar or as a name or as a big money. It was because we needed this creative midfielder. We were linked with him for so long, and we didn't get that. We've scored 8 goals this season.
The creative midfielder is not your issue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
is.
is.
It's not.
It is. Who's on?
The first thing
that we have.
The first issue that you've got to look at is the fact that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is 77th in the league right now for expected goals. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Your best player is absolute bang off form and been playing in the wrong position.
2 reasons.
Yeah, that is.
He's playing on the left rather than centrally, which is wrong, and we don't have anyone to provide for him. We don't have.
Didn't Saka get loads of assists last season?
Saka's been great.
But Saka's a left winger. He's not a cam.
Yeah, so
put him on the left wing, put Aubameyang up front.
We agree. But Arteta is playing Aubameyang on the left and Saka as a cam, which doesn't work.
Aubameyang on the left can work, and it has worked before, but it's not working. Well,
I think if you want to change it, Lacazette, I don't rate Lacazette, but so put Aubameyang in the middle, put Saka out wide, and then just gets. You should have had Ozil.
I go Aubameyang through the middle, Saka on the left, and Pepe on the right.
Yeah, we all agree that Aubameyang should be playing down the middle.
We all know what the problem is for Arsenal.
But
we all agree that it's Aubameyang's not scoring enough as he should be. He's playing in the wrong position, but I think it's that creative midfield threat, because Ceballos isn't natural or isn't seemingly comfortable playing attacking midfield. I thought he'd be fine there. He isn't. He's clearly being played in a 3, or should be played in a 3, centrally, and then you either drop Xhaka or Partey deeper, is my midfield for Arsenal. I don't understand playing Saka in cam or playing Willian false 9 or what he's trying to do. It doesn't make sense to me, but I think it's that lack of a cam. And I think it stems down to Ozil. Whatever's happened, I don't care what's happened. I don't want to keep referencing it because he's not been registered. But he offers that creative attacking midfield threat, plays that final pass, plays that silky ball, can drop in and get that ball in deep. And he's not been registered. He's not going to play for Arsenal again. But that is the type of player we need. And it's, who do we get to replace him?
Yeah. Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go on.
Did you think you needed Partey more or an attacking midfielder more?
We needed Aouar more.
Yeah.
Personally.
Okay.
Because I think you've re-signed Ceballos on loan, who played there last season. You've got Xhaka. You've got Maitland-Niles who can play there.
No, but I meant as Partey's like the solid defensive midfielder that you needed. Like I know reference the Oliveira and all that, but that you needed that big, strong midfielder. Would you rather a big strong midfielder or like
I think if Arteta knew, and this is assuming it's Arteta's decision, which it seems from what he said it is, that he wasn't going to register Ozil, we needed a creative midfielder more than we needed a defensive midfielder.
So can we say now that it's definitely and all is Arteta's fault that Arsenal are performing so poorly?
I think, this only comes down to whether it was purely Arteta's, like it was on Arteta that Ozil was not registered. But obviously we don't know. We're not going to know. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. It also comes down to, I saw a thing saying Arteta wanted to sign Aouar over Partey, but the board said no.
It was Arteta apparently wanted Aouar and Edu wanted Partey. And it's when you have your manager, and he is a manager now. He got that new contract saying he's a manager rather than a head coach. Your manager and your director of football disagree. Something's wrong. Whether they're mates or not, something's clearly gone wrong when they can't agree on transfer targets. And I think if the manager says he wants a creative midfielder, you go out and get him a creative midfielder.
You know that doesn't happen these days.
But Edu isn't the manager. If you don't want Arteta to have more control over transfers or decisions, you don't make him manager. You make him head coach, and you let Edu and you let Vinai and you let Kroenke deal with everything else. Because
I think it also it comes down to as well, because before we signed Partey, we were playing as a 3-4-3 with Ceballos and Xhaka in the midfield. At that point, I understood why we weren't going to play Ozil, because obviously there's no room for him. If you put him in the two in the centre mid, he's not going to defend. He's not going to track back. It's Ozil. We'll know this. But now we've got Partey, and we've changed it. Last game was a 4-3-3, wasn't it? Yeah. We changed it. It would be either Xhaka or Ceballos in the other one, and then Ozil in cam. So now we had to register Ozil because we've signed Partey. If we didn't sign Partey and we got Aouar, I reckon probably would have stuck with like a 3-4-3 and played Aouar in there. And that would have been fine.
Going back to the point though, James, is it Arteta's fault? I'm not going to be one of those like Arsenal fans that are already saying, get him out. But I think something needs to be looked at in terms of tactics or his substitutions, because I've never been convinced by his substitutions. They either happen too late or it's the wrong choice. And his team run-ups, I don't know why. I don't understand. We started El Neni the first 3 games of the season or something. I've not seen him for the next 3-4 games.
I'll tell you why that is. That is because he's actually a rubbish footballer.
I don't rate El Neni. But you're starting. I know you're like. I know we were trying to get deals done, but I'm not convinced that El Neni is a starter for Arsenal, and then he suddenly drops off once we sign a replacement. But you register him, and you keep him when his position's overcrowded, and you don't register a player where you need squad depth and you need a starter, and it is for footballing reasons. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. He needs to be criticised, Arteta does, for in-game decisions, because it wasn't working. We didn't have an attacking threat. So you bring off your striker and you bring on someone else. Whether that's Aubameyang and then you bring on Pepe or Willian or whoever it is on the wings, or you do something different and try and change it. And he doesn't. And he waited too long. And then like Kieran, I think Tierney came off with 2 minutes to go for Nketiah or something. And it's stuff like that baffles me. And I was confident at the start of the season. I thought we'd get 5th or 6th. I thought we'd be up there. I didn't think we'd get Champions League. Season obviously hasn't gone however everyone thought, with Liverpool or City dominating. But I think we're in serious trouble because we don't have that attacking midfielder. I don't know what the solution is. I mean, it might be.
It's get a better manager, mate. It's get someone with common sense in that managerial role, but someone that's not just Rafa Benitez with black box hair dye, and says, you know what, let's actually play Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at striker and not left wing.
I don't think we could call for Arteta out just yet.
No. Maybe
would be
Arteta out is not the way to go.
you
But someone
call
needs to speak to him. Go, do you know what? You know this bloke that we've had for a few years now. You know that world class striker.
Yeah, he can play
Remember when
up
he
front.
played up front? Let's do that again. Why not?
I think as well, like in the game against Rapid Vienna, instead of just playing a natural left winger or a winger on the left, Eddie Nketiah went out wide. What is the point? Why has he got with moving strikers out wide for Lacazette in the middle?
It's like you know how Pep Guardiola goes, oh, do you know what, Bernardo Silva, right, talented technical right winger for Monaco. Let's play him as like a really hard-working Mazzala type role in the midfield. And Mikel Arteta has been like sitting around for like on his bench, writing down going, right, play players out of position, they turn world class. And it's like, no, it doesn't work. He's not playing the squad to your strengths. It's very much a lot like what we've seen under, say, Solskjaer sometimes, where he's playing players kind of not well. He's playing, for example, Pogba too deep, something like that. I'm not saying
playing Maguire in the team. Yeah,
exactly. He's just stronger on the bench. It's just, I'm not saying by any means that Arteta is the same as Ollie. Obviously, Ollie's better, but it's just not going to work for Arsenal right now if you keep on with the tactics you're playing, and hopefully Arteta can somehow understand that quickly.
I think
but on the side, Leicester, they looked all right. They finally did the one thing that they haven't been able to do for a while, which is defend for like 70 minutes.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Leicester looked shocking in the first half. We were all over them. We couldn't score. We couldn't.
Game plan worked.
They couldn't score because Aubameyang wasn't up front.
We couldn't score because Aubameyang wasn't up front, and all our attacks came from the wide rather than centrally. And I think that would have broken them down with a partnership, with a centre back inexperienced partnership, because their starting centre back was out injured and their starting wing was out injured. That's where you need to attack. The problem for me though is, once we didn't score in that first half and we didn't get either one or two, and we broke them down, broke their spirit, and then they thought, right, we need a goal so we can then attack that defence. We let them off the hook, and as soon as Jamie Vardy came on, I knew what was happening. You knew exactly what would happen. He'd come off and he'd score the winner, because he loves scoring against Arsenal, and it's what he does. And we let.
It's also because he was playing. Was he playing up front and not the left wing this game? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
It's a weird coincidence.
But I think you need to praise Leicester, because they came to the Emirates, they sat back, they scored in the counter attack, and that's when they played their best football. It's counter attack.
Yeah,
and you
have to praise Leicester there.
You have to praise Leicester for the result.
It's what they did to Man City as well, isn't it? When they went to the Etihad, got the big 5-2 win there. I was obviously, when sort of coming to Arsenal, obviously a bit nervous, but I'm still confident going into the game. I thought, especially after watching the first half, we've got to score at some point. We're literally playing quite well here.
Yeah.
Well, we did score after 4 minutes, and it was ruled out, which was incorrect. Xhaka wasn't offside. He wasn't interfering with play, and he wasn't in Schmeichel's eye line. You've seen on the replays that he wasn't. So something's gone wrong.
It's VAR. It always goes wrong.
Well, it's not
a bit salty, to be honest. You lost the game. Go over it.
Oh, yeah, we did. But I think it comes back again to VAR and decisions and refereeing standards, and they aren't up there, and it isn't fair on the league to have these incorrect decisions and this inefficiency. I also think Arsenal, Arteta's so inexperienced, we need experienced coaches alongside him. And he hasn't brought experienced coaches. Lundberg's left. He's been in Arsenal for a while. Mertesaker's still head of academy. There's no one there with coaching experience alongside Arteta to help him. And I think...
I do think the issue is that you go for experienced coaching, and your go-tos are Freddie Lundberg and Per Mertesaker.
No, but I mean, no, both of them. Lundberg at the club,
Freddie...
Mertesaker...
Freddie Lundberg weren't great as a coach, definitely not as a head coach. Per Mertesaker, I think, is great. He's obviously very good.
I like Mertesaker in the academy role, but I think just even if it's someone there who's been at the club longer than Arteta has, I don't know who his mates are or who who we can get as a coach.
All the Guardiola's mates. He gives them a ring, and they're halfway through having dinner at the Etihad.
Maybe.
Right.
That is all we have time for in part one.
Once Cazorla retires, bring him back.
In part two, we will talk about Arsenal Man United this Sunday and probably a 0-0 board draw. So we'll catch you after the break.
Take a draw. So hi guys, we're back and let's talk about the United-Chelsea games. Obviously, a very, very, very boring game. 0-0. Awful. What do you think?
Dreadful. Worst game of football watching a good while. It just, both teams went with the idea of, hang on, we'll just play them on the counter, because I think United went, well, it's Chelsea, they'll play attacking. Chelsea went, well, it's United, they just beat PSG, they'll play attacking, they'll go for it. But both teams just went, let's play a bit safe, which worked, I think, more in Chelsea's favour than ours, because Chelsea have had an awful back line in the past, like kind of start of the season. And I think this 0-0 will mean more to them than us.
Yeah.
It's dreadful. Awful match.
It was a sort of game that was either going to be a 4-4 or a 0-0. Because both teams have quality attacks and terrible defences, but then know that that's their problems, and then we'll sit back and hope the other team can't defend. So,
and when it's like that, and when both managers, who I think have had a tough time of it recently, do choose to play it safe, and it's like watching paint dry pretty much for the whole game.
Yeah.
But the only difference is, like, paint would start to cover the cracks that are appearing in both of their managerial reigns, but that match can't.
Yeah.
Both managers only look a little bit worse after that match. Maybe Lampard looks a bit better because he looks like he's finally sorted a defence out. He's got Thiago Silva and Mendy doing absolute madnesses to stop Marcus Rashford. But Ollie doesn't look too great for it. He's just dropped arguably the best centre-back performance that we've had in a good while.
Before that game, like, I was actually confident we'd win the game. But when I saw the lineups, I was not confident at all. I don't understand how we can play so well against PSG and then just to
go back to the
completely
Newcastle
formation. And Solskjaer, I think I saw it somewhere. Solskjaer said that Twanzebe has to be consistent, like, to get into the team. How can he not be consistent if he doesn't play? How can he be consistent? Like, he played one of the best centre-back performances we've seen in a long time. And then to drop him just seems absolutely ridiculous to me. Like, Maguire and Lindelof played okay. They still looked a bit shaky, but you could see that Thiago Silva was much better out. But I just didn't understand it at all.
It was
just painful.
It seemed to be another case of what if. Again, referencing VAR, probably a penalty.
Oh, it's
definitely.
And it's all. Yeah. So if that went in, would that have opened the game up more? What would have?
Well, you shouldn't need to open the game up. We're at home, I know home doesn't really matter anymore. We should be playing expansive football. We've got quick players. We've got the players that can do it. Yes, McTominay and Fred in the midfield aren't the most creative, but I still don't. Van der Beek, I don't know why he even signed for us, to be honest, at the moment.
Yeah, Van der Beek's an odd signing, I think, obviously, where he's on the bench and everyone goes, maybe he'll get his chance at some point. Saw Carl Anker, I think, on Twitter this morning, make a very good comparison. It's like when you buy a winter coat in the summer sale, knowing you're not going to need it right now, but come December, you know you're going to thank yourself for it. And I think that's kind of what Ollie's doing with Van der Beek. I think it's like when Bruno and Pogba start getting knackered end of November, early December, then he'll start coming in more and more regularly. But it is just weird to me that he's so focused on saying, yeah, he needs time to bed in. He needs time to bed in. Whenever he comes on the pitch, he looks like the best player. He looks like one of the few players that want to play in a Man United shirt. He is chasing the ball, playing good football. And sometimes I think that's what we need at the end of the day. But I don't know. I think sometimes that McTominay and Fred partnership works. I saw some stats about how playing them pretty much doubles the amount of chances created per match by Bruno. It doubles increases his dribbles, increases passes into the box. And having that too defensive allows him to go forward, where when he's with Pogba, he's having to share the attacking responsibilities, but also Pogba's giving the ball away so much that it doesn't really help.
It works. It will work in games like the PSG game, and maybe it could, like them two playing together would work against Chelsea because it's a bigger game. But yeah. I don't want to see them both together if we're like at home to Fulham or something.
Sure.
I don't see the point in that.
No, yeah.
Signings like Cavani, where it's a relatively big name because of what he's done before at his old clubs, not necessarily something that you need.
You look good though,
or want, but is there because it's Man United and because Man United are expected to make these big signings?
I disagree. I think we needed Van der Beek and Cavani.
Well,
no, we can't say. I think our target should be second. Our target should be either just be better than one of City and Liverpool. That's how we go to our next level. At the minute, we're a top 4 team. The next level is that. And you can't do that with one number 9 and Odion Ighalo. You can't do that with the backups to Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes being McTominay and Fred. I think it works when you look at it long term. And I think Ollie signing these backup players as the super sub legend himself makes sense in a way.
Do you think that's achievable to get this season above Liverpool, either Liverpool or City? Because obviously they're both not at the greatest start. I don't think anyone's had a brilliant start.
I'd put my neck on the line and say yes. I think it would take a big run of form. It would be kind of that January, February time when sometimes it goes well for United and sometimes it really doesn't. Last year we found our form pick up after a dreadful start. And if we can cut out the bad plays that we've had at the start of the year now and go into November and December like a steam train, and you get Bruno working, you get maybe Martial scoring a few more goals when he comes back, you get Rashford playing, and when you reintroduce someone like Mason Greenwood into the setup, we got a chance. I think City don't look good. Liverpool are going to win the league. I don't care what anyone says. I think they're still going to be fine. But City are the ones that I kind of look at and go, what's going on here? Because that defence don't look right. And they don't look like they believe in Pep Guardiola anymore. And I don't believe in, I believe in Pep Guardiola, but I don't believe in him for this season.
See, I agree with you that second is a realistic target for other teams. I agree it's achievable. I don't think it is for Man United or Arsenal or Chelsea.
It's definitely not for Arsenal.
Wait, so you don't think Chelsea?
Last week,
fourth.
I think if any team are gonna break that Liverpool, Man City hold on the top 2, it's gonna be Spurs
or Everton.
It's gonna be.
I don't think. I think Everton will be a very. They'll have good. They've had a good patch of form, but then they're going to lose a couple of games, and they won't Everton. They're a good team. They're a good team, haven't they?
It's going. If anyone is going to break that stranglehold in second, it's going to be Spurs.
It's not Spurs. It's Spurs. They won't. They can't. I don't think they will.
Arsenal aren't, because we don't have a creative midfielder, and our defense is still a bit leaky. Man United aren't convincing me again because of your defense. Attacking, you're fine. Defensively, still worries me. I know Twanzebe played great against PSG. Solskjaer doesn't really want them playing in the Premier League, whether it's tired legs or whatever it is. Everton, like we said, great start to the season, collapse against Southampton, well beaten and deservedly beaten. Are they going to then be able to pick it up again? They've not really had a massive test, I can't remember yet this season.
They played Liverpool at home.
They got 2-2, but should have lost because that Henderson goal was unfairly ruled out. Chelsea, again, defensively, they've improved, but they haven't been the greatest. And I think all round Spurs.
In the first day of the season, beat Spurs. Look, the way I say it is,
but I think if anyone is going to go for it and have a proper go of it, and have the best chance of it, I hate to say it, it's going to be Spurs.
I kind of agree in a way.
I think Redknapp on deadline day was being a bit jovial when he said Spurs are the team most likely to win the league or whatever he said. But I think you're right. Man City look broken. They need something fresh. I don't know if that's whether the players have lost belief in Pep or Pep has just given up.
Pep's just burnt out again. He did that at Bayern. He did it at Arsenal. He needs a break and then he'll come back again.
Spent at any one club, I think he's probably bored.
I think he's failed at City, to be honest.
I think also his gift card at Zara Men's has run out, so he's not really buying any new knitwear. It's a bit tough for him in these times, especially going into autumn and winter.
But when you look at it, there's quite a big thing to say about Pep. Has he succeeded other than Barcelona? Because the money he spent at City, he's won the league. Has he won the Champions League? I think what he did at Bayern Munich, yes, he's going to win the league at Bayern Munich, but has he won the Champions League?
You're right.
He looked so good at Barcelona because he could literally just say to when Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, Busquets all in their proper prime, just go out and play. And then he spent so much money at City, and he still hasn't won anything Champions League.
He went to City to win in the Champions League,
and he went to Bayern Munich to win the Champions League.
And I think you're right. I think he's fair. I think the money that you spend at Man City, all four of us could go into Man City, be given the same transfer budget, and win the league. But anyone could.
No, I disagree. No. I don't think.
I think ultimately he's failed. Yes, he's brought them countless trophies. What is it? Two, 3 Premier Leagues, 4 Capital One Cups in a row, or whatever it is. But he's not won one, and that's what they care about.
But when you look at him, okay, so you can say, I think it is not disrespectful to the league or the English trophies to say he's failed. You can say I think he's succeeded, but not to the level he hoped he would have.
Oh, okay, failed maybe the big shout.
He's failed because he's won, what was it, 2 or 3 Prems? I can't remember. A load of Carabao One Cup, or Carabao Cup, so it's Carabao Cup. But it's unfair to say that he has failed because he come in, won the league, got the record for the most amount of points ever in a Premier League season.
Yeah, I think that's often forgotten. I think that's a pretty big deal. Even the Liverpool side last year didn't do that.
Yeah, you think of it.
But
if it comes down to,
it has to be Champions League, surely.
That team his team that won the Prems, they get a shout of being the best Prem side ever. They've won the league.
If he was signed to win the Champions League and he didn't win the Champions League, then surely he's been failed what he was signed to do.
I think he failed to win the Champions League, obviously. Well, he has failed to win the Champions League. But as a whole, you can't mark him as a failure.
His time at Man City obviously won't go down as a failure because of the amount of trophies he's won.
Yeah, but I don't think he's failed.
He built technically the greatest Premier League team that we've seen, or if not one of them.
Yeah,
why are you shaking it? Bro, Invincibles didn't get that many points.
They're not the greatest.
Last year didn't get that many points.
They're not the greatest Premier League team.
They're up there.
Wait, who is then, John?
You can't.
I'm sorry.
Invincibles.
I'm sorry.
They didn't lose a game. They drew 12.
Oh, sorry. You cannot go a full season unbeaten and not be called the greatest side in that league. I'm sorry.
You can, because I'm saying it.
I think.
Wait. So you could have played games like United played against Chelsea. We were so bad. If you played 12 games of that being boring, drawing like them games, you could still consider yourself the best team if you played boring.
We drew 12 games. So what? We didn't lose.
I think
that team didn't lose a game. Didn't lose a game all season. Therefore, in that.
How many points did you get?
90.
And how many points did City get? Was it 101?
Yeah,
101.
100. I think.
You were 10 or 11 points behind.
Yeah, see, this is what it comes back to. We can look at both sides. Both sides obviously are up there as one of the best sides the Prem's ever seen. But everyone's going to have a different opinion on who takes the crown of being the best. And this is why when we do this and when we're comparing the Pep sides to the Invincibles or all the other great teams that the Prem has seen, this just shows how well Pep has done to create this team. So it always comes back to, did he fail? No, he created one of the best sides the Prem's ever seen that got the most amount of points the Prem has ever seen.
I think he has done a fantastic job domestically. And I think looking domestically, you cannot fault him. You cannot criticise anything he has done. And you cannot take away from winning the amount of Premier Leagues he's won, the amount of League Cups he has won. I think he's won an FA Cup or 2 FA. He's won trophies domestically. But when you take that onto the European stage, before he came in, Man City had won the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. They hadn't won a European Cup. They hadn't won the Champions League, and that's one ultimately they would want. I'm guessing. None of us are Man City fans. He has failed to win the one trophy that they want. See, I think you can either separate it. You can say on a domestic stage, he has blown everyone away. He was probably up until last year was the best manager in that league, and probably one of the best managers that the league has ever seen. But you take that onto the European stage, and he has failed. I forgot who they played in the semi-final. It might have been was it Leon?
Leon.
He changed his team.
It was the quarters.
He changed his team, played a weaker team because he assumed he would get to the semi-finals and play a harder opponent. He has failed on the European stage.
The players still shit on the game.
I think that's the furthest they got since he's been there, the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
He hasn't got past the
quarterfinals. They went out to Tottenham as well before.
I think if you want to separate it, he has succeeded all expectations domestically and has failed on the European stage. If you take it on the whole, he has been a success at Man City on the whole, but will still be remembered for not winning the Champions League.
No, he'll be remembered for winning the most amount of points in the Premier League.
Yeah, and
Arsene Wenger's not going to be remembered for not winning the Champions League.
Yeah, but
Mauricio Pochettino's not going to be remembered for not winning. Actually, Poch might, but like
it's like Arsene Wenger's not.
I think English football is much kinder like that.
Yeah, Arsene Wenger's main thing is the Invincibles. That is what he did because it's such a big achievement. Even though he didn't win the Champions League, which we obviously would have hoped. Remember, he was there for 22 years. How long's Pep been there for? So
like 5 or 6.
6 years.
Is it? Oh, it's been a long time. We can't mark Pep down as being a failure for not winning the Champions League when we celebrate Arsene Wenger, who had 22 years to do it because he got the Invincibles. Pep has done. I don't want to say just as good with making his team that's one thing, but he's done.
If you took Arsene Wenger's peak years with Arsenal in that kind of early 2000s lot, and Guardiola's time, I think Wenger might just beat it because the Invincible season maybe holds some worth more in nostalgia, but they're around the same thing. I think we'd agree.
Yeah. This is what I'm trying to.
I'm probably wrong. But I think Wenger wasn't appointed to win the Champions League, and I think Guardiola was. If he doesn't do it, it will still be remembered for him not doing it.
That's what Bayern consider him. Yeah. They do. Bayern, he's known for not winning the Champions League.
We'll see. He might win the Champions League this year with Man City, and then will go down as their best ever manager, and that will not be replicated. I still think he's a fantastic manager, and you can't take away from what he's done. But that objective of his, he still hasn't won it. He's not won it in about 12 years, has he? Or he's not won it for a while.
2010 or 11, I think.
Yeah, he won it there in 2011 at Wembley against the mighty.
He's not won it for 9 years at 3 different clubs. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be made to eat my words. But I think the substantial nature of that trophy for Man City, the money they've spent, for him not winning it, that would be a little tarnish on his time, name, reputation at the club. Anyway. Man City, Pep Guardiola discussion over. Biggest game of the weekend is Man United Arsenal. Is it still a big game?
Well, of course, it's a big game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it is.
No, but I mean,
are you saying it's not a big game for you?
It's a big game. It is. No, it's an important game.
But it is a big game then.
I don't think it holds the weight it did 12 years ago.
Oh, that's in the past. You can't look at it in the past. You can't just like.
But we are now 2 just above mid-table sides.
But is there any match now that holds more weight or the same weight as 12 years ago? It's all just, we're competing not because we hate Arsenal or we hate Liverpool. It's the higher ups competing because they want.
There's no hatred and there's no big hatred in football anymore.
See, I think that's true. I think that's almost the problem. Because Arsenal United was such a big game, and I think it was just before our sort of time coming into football properly, with like Vieira, Keane, like the Van Nistelrooy stuff. But we rewatch it and we still have that hatred. I still hate Man United.
So we
as an fan, I still hate Man United because of the history. I think that was also substantialized because of Wenger and Ferguson. But I think there's a lot of it's too nice, that game now, I think.
But does that come down to the players or come down to the managers who have been there?
Culture. It's the culture. I don't think the players necessarily know the.
I think if it was still Mourinho around and we had like the Herreras and that there, then it might still be the fight. Like I just think back to when we played Liverpool. I know it's a different game. Steven Gerrard's last game against us, and you could see that hate there. You could see that he wanted it, and Mourinho is that type of manager. But I do think maybe Arteta is a bit too laid back in that kind of sense. I don't see Arteta as a rivals man. I think Ollie would try to get it across. I think he understands how much United don't like Arsenal.
Yeah.
But it'd be like your cool maths teacher trying to get across basic algebra to you. You understand it, but you don't care because he learned it. He had it ages ago, and it's different now. There's different stuff to move on.
Yeah. But I think in the significance of English football, it's still a big game because of the history.
It's still a big game for today because we're going to be battling against each other in the league by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Every point matters. If we beat you, then we're going to have an upper advantage. I don't think because we're not on the greatest form, it's not a good game. It's not a big game.
Yeah, it's still important. It's still like a kind of festivities, but I think it's like I really want something so we don't just have to go, oh, Keenan Vieira every single year, because that's all sports do. They roll out the same package.
They flip every year. I'm very pessimistic. It's the first time I'm worried about playing Man United in a while.
I see. For me, I don't see why you should be worried.
I do. We haven't won there for 14 years in the league. In the league, yeah. Haven't won there in 14 years. Our away form against big sides, but against the big six, we haven't won away in the league since 2015, which is obviously we all know is absolutely awful because they've run of about 30-something games now. It must be.
9 games after that Man City result, I think, maybe.
Yeah. But then we look at, if you guys were coming to the Emirates and we played, I always feel confident against United at the Emirates.
Stadiums don't matter these days.
They do. They really do.
I don't think they do.
Even just without having fans in there, it still matters. Bring not any side to the Emirates, and I'm confident, but bring United, bring Tottenham, bring like Chelsea even. So anyone basically apart from Liverpool and City, I still get that feeling of we can do something here. But when we go to theirs, it's always if we get a draw, that's a good result. And that's what I feel for this game. I don't think we'll get a draw. I think it's going to be about 2-0 United. Aubameyang's going to play out wide and we'll get ruined.
But actually, I don't think Aubameyang being out wide. I know we had a discussion, but I think if he cuts inside at our centre halves, because Solskjaer's not going to play Twanzebe, he's not going to play the players that play well. He'll play Maguire. Aubameyang against Maguire, imagine that.
Yeah, but he has to start down the middle for that. Otherwise, he's just running.
No, because I can see Aubameyang cutting in, getting the ball, coming inside.
Yeah, Aaron Wan-Bissaka still covers it. He covers that half space.
It's the first time, like I said, it's the first time in a long while I'm not confident about playing Man United.
I feel fine about it. I feel it's like we're playing in full offence, if any taken. It's like playing kind of like a Wolves or a Leicester. It's a good challenge. Yeah. I'd expect us to win. I'd expect them to put up a fight, but it's a kind of like we have to. It's more a puzzle than anything. It's finding the right way to beat that level of team, rather than so you go at your top end and you got your Liverpools and Cities. It's finding a way to stop them winning.
Yeah.
You go to the bottom end. It's we should win, and then in that tough spot where it's like, right, what's the best way for us to get the win here? And I think United's squad, how it's laid out right now, just matches up better against the Arsenals.
For us,
actually, with the squad situation, I think it'd be different. Who have you got in the Europa League?
Dundalk tomorrow.
Exactly. We've got a big game against Leipzig.
And we've got an extra, day rest.
But Dundalk, if you lose to Dundalk, then I think, based on how tonight's game goes against Leipzig, I'll think about it. If you lose to Dundalk, I'm not even going to say that. If you're going to beat Dundalk,
don't jinx it, man. Honestly,
as a guinea pig team, to be honest, if you'll beat them, then you have because you'll play a second team. We'll still have to play our best team, and I don't know if we win or lose. I just think it'll be a draw. I don't know.
It sort of feels for me, it's a game that we are going there not to lose, but not expecting to win. And looking at it from a Man United perspective, it's a game that you expect to win because you're at home. And if you draw, it's not the worst case scenario.
I feel like as well, as much as I don't want to go back to this, I just kind of need to get another point across. With the Aubameyang playing out wide on the left wing, last season, and even there's been games where it has worked quite well. And I feel it can work in this one. We saw it in the Community Shield against Liverpool. Obviously, we got ball over. He scored, banger. Then we had against Chelsea in the cup final. Got the penalty was from Aubameyang making that run through. Azpilicueta had to take him out, and then with the goal as well to win it, it came from him being out on the left, doing Zoom a little bang, chip over the goal, easy money. Then we saw. I had another example. I've forgotten it now.
Oh, it's how all of those players aren't Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a fullback. He's going to sort it out.
When we played against Man City as well, actually Man City Cup semi-final as well, we did it to them as well. Aubameyang got 2. It still worked then. That was when I think did they have Walker playing up right back then, that game? I think they did. And then they had Garcia in centre-back, who... So it just went over Walker and Aubameyang through against Garcia. When we played them in the league this season, Walker was playing as the right centre-back to cover the run of when Aubameyang did it.
That's why I think Twanzebe should play.
Yeah.
I think they're not playing a 3 at the back. So hopefully...
Yeah,
but I think when Wan-Bissaka does it, I think he can get around Wan-Bissaka and then do it to Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
He can do it. So I feel quietly confident that Aubameyang will do something in this game. Just to put it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll be a tricky game. I think Sod's Law is going to be a 0-0. De Gea is going to have a masterclass after I've slewed him. It's going to be... I don't want to make a prediction and say it. I don't think we'll win. 1-1.
4-0 to us.
Oh, James, shut up.
That's it. I'm cancelling uni. I'm never going in if we lose 4-0.
That's fair enough.
I think for me, you've always got to have low expectations. I think after the last game, like the Tottenham game, just have low expectations. I'll be so happy with a win, but draw will do.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to go for 2-0 United.
Good man.
I think you're right though. I think it depends on results this week. I think you against Leipzig could be a tricky game. If we don't beat Dundalk convincingly, I will be annoyed. Regardless of who we play, I think we looked bad against Vienna, and it'll be interesting. I think we need to get a good result. Forget about that Leicester game. Forget about Man City, and then go. I think we've only won half of our Premier League games this season, though.
Yeah,
which I know
we win 3 and then lose 3 on the bounce now.
Yeah, we won our first 3 and then we haven't won since
Sheffield.
Yeah, since Sheffield United.
Because we beat Fulham, West Ham, Sheffield, then lost to Liverpool, City, Leicester. So
did we? Yeah, was that? Yeah, I think we've won half our Premier League games and then we've obviously
lost the
Europa League.
Yeah, that's what happens when you play bigger teams than you. So
true. No, but I mean, I think if we
not true. Leicester are not bigger. Let's just put that on. Not true.
The bait.
No, I'm talking about like we weren't expecting to beat Liverpool away or Man City away.
No.
Leicester we should have won. And I think that if that goal stands, which it should have done, different game. But I think we've done our predictions. I think it'll be a close game. I hope it will be. I can't imagine it being like convincingly one side or another.
Yeah.
I think you saw we all see the clip yesterday, the clip that came out of Benzema talking to Mendy about Vinicius Junior.
Yeah, it doesn't help the poor lad's confidence.
No. You sort of raised this one, Paddy, earlier. Do you want to?
Yeah, basically, I think, wasn't it Benzema just like saying to Mendy, like, don't pass to him, don't pass to Vinicius, just pass to me, basically. Which isn't really a bad thing to say, because Benzema does bang in a lot of goals, to be honest. But
when he said Vinicius plays for the other team tonight, it's like, that's a bit far.
Yeah,
I
don't think it's not really like, why would you say it as well where there's cameras? I know obviously you might not have realised.
Yeah.
But
he's covering his mouth in the video.
Yeah, if we've all seen it, Vinicius has definitely seen it.
Yeah.
And that, especially with Real Madrid not being the best recently, it's going to cause more upset in the dressing room. I reckon some people are going to definitely pick sides.
Yeah.
Because obviously people are going to say, well, you weren't playing well, so Benzema's got a right to say, just pass it to me. But then, he's not even like an experienced really player, is he?
No, Vinicius really confuses me. Him and Rodrigo. I think, did Rodrigo only get in this summer, I think, something like that. Or I don't know, he might have been there last year. It's very big risks by Real Madrid. I think they're going to pay off. I think they're 2 very good footballers, but they've had very in and out starts. And that La Liga project is just it's going well. I think they will get another title this year. But they're somehow transitioning fairly well from Ronaldo, which surprises me. But yeah, when you're like destroying your best prospects, the confidence like that, and is he captain? No, surely he's not captain. He got Rouse.
No,
but if you're in your figure, it's not going to look well. But then again, he's all right. He's got a safe spot in the team. Ferland Mendy's all right. He's got a safe spot in the team. Vinicius is the one that should be worried. So who knows?
They've not been convincing in Europe though this season, have they?
No, they lost their first 2, or lost 1, drew 1. Sorry.
Yeah, they drew. Did they? No, yeah, they lost 3-2 to Shakhtar.
And
they drew last minute.
And they drew very late on against Gladbach. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll probably get out of that group. They'll turn it around.
No, I can't wait for them to finish 3rd and come down into Europa League.
Honestly, and it would be Soslow will get them in the first game as well.
Then they'll win it.
But, yeah, if they fall into Europa League, they've won it, and that's it.
They're not gonna. Yeah, it would be ridiculous. But it isn't the biggest news from Spain. Barcelona's whole board have resigned.
Thank God.
But
just proves player power really at the end.
But the parting gift Barcelona's left them is accepting an invitation to join the European Super / Premier, whatever you call it, league. Apparently.
Whoever's next president will just flat out either like run with it and pretend it's their idea or reject it. And I don't know who the next president's going to be. I don't know who's up for election. But
the election was meant to be in March or something, and I think there was this like stand-up.
They were postponed because of Corona, weren't they?
Pardon?
I thought they were going to be in like November.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. I thought they were soon, whatever it is. But
yeah, they're coming out.
No one is going to stand against Bartomeu, so I think the favourite is going to get it anyway. Yeah. You're right. I think that's player power. I think Messi's one. It'll be interesting to see now if he stays on beyond this season.
He will.
He's not going anywhere.
No. That was literally for the aim of this happening.
Yeah. Right. I think he'll probably spend another few years at Barcelona and then probably go back to Argentina.
Yeah.
For his final couple of years.
You just got to hope that whoever comes in the Barcelona board does the three things that are needed, which is sack Koeman, sort out your bloody transfers, and for goodness sake, sort out your bloody transfers. They're just awful generally, so that's like going to take double priority. But if you can sign more Frankie de Jongs and less Arturo Vidals and Miralem Pjanic's, they might be in a good place.
Martin Braithwaite. How long's his contract there? Because if it's long, that is banging. It's so good.
In his release clause, like 168 million.
Yeah, because Spanish law dictates that every player Spain has to have.
I know they have to have a release clause, but why 168?
So no one buys him.
Yeah, so no one.
Yeah. Martin Braithwaite.
Yeah,
but so what they've done is they've said, right, well, we're going to use that rule and buy him after the transfer window. And obviously they just activated his release clause. But because it's Barcelona, if he goes supernova somehow and turns into the best striker in the world and his release clause is like 40 million, they're thinking, oh shit.
It's Martin Braithwaite, that's what I'm saying. He's not going to turn into Messi.
Yeah, but it's just an if, isn't it? It's just always an if.
We are running out of time. Thank you for everyone's contributions. Thank you to the one of you who is listening. It's very much appreciated. Come back next week. We'll talk about Arsenal versus Man United. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your mates, all of that usual stuff. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Cheers.